Hey everybody! Happy Thursday! It is Thursday. It is Thursday, May 11th. I hope everybody is doing well out there in the world. I'm going to keep tonight's live stream very short. A couple of announcements. I have to lead off the night asking for donations again, ladies and gentlemen. We need to raise like $420, I believe, this week. And it's going to be very difficult because fundraising for us is always very difficult. Please help if you want this group to literally exist going forward. So to those of you who are new to the group, welcome. Believe it or not, we're actually the largest group of citizens in the country fighting only and absolutely for student loan justice. We've been around for 18 years now. We have 1.4 million members or more. We've been featured on 60 Minutes in the New York Times, in the Wall Street Journal, in the New York Post, on Fox News, on MSNBC, many other places over the past years and decades. Couple of quick announcements. We're still looking for people in the Washington, D.C. area who want to be interviewed about their student loans. If this is you, this is for an international news agency. You may or may not have heard of it, probably not, but it is the biggest news agency in a particular well-known country in Europe that has lots of mountains in it. I'll just leave it at that. I will also say we are trying very hard to compel all of our members, including you, to get a letter to the editor of their local newspaper published, calling for two things, which are the two goals of this group. Calling number one, which is most important, getting the constitutional right leverage of bankruptcy returned to student loans. Or number two, the cancellation of all federally owned student loans by executive order. Believe it or not, guys, especially if you're new to the group, believe it or not, we would not have meaningful bankruptcy legislation to fight for, not last session, not any congressional session going back to 2008, I believe, without, but for the people on this group. We would not be talking about student loan cancellation by executive order, I don't think, but for the people on this group. You know, it was us that started the petition way before anybody was talking about Elizabeth Warren, Chuck Schumer, or anybody like that. Way before anyone was talking about canceling student loans by executive order, which is a very sexy wrinkle on student loan cancellation. You know, the president, and this is being debated in the courts right now, but indeed, the president does, in fact, have the power to cancel every nickel of federally owned student loans without congressional approval, without congressional appropriation, with not one thin dime needed from the Treasury, and without one penny added to the national debt. So anybody telling you that student loan cancellation is a huge cost to the taxpayers, that's just nonsense. So those two things include either one or both of them, but I would say for sure get that first thing in there, because this congressional session is going to be very difficult for us to get anything done, guys. It's going to have to rely on the Republicans in the House. And the most important policy point I'll tell you tonight, and I say this every night, we will not see meaningful student loan cancellation until we get the right of bankruptcy returned. You know, nobody wants to file for bankruptcy. Very few people should have to when we actually get the right returned. But only with the leverage of bankruptcy back on our side are we going to see Joe Biden or any other president, for that matter, do a meaningful student loan cancellation. That's just true, guys. We've been living and breathing this issue for many, many years. And that's just true. And, you know, the past 3 years proves that. Like, you know, we saw what Biden's going to do, and that's probably the most that we can expect from Joe Biden or the Democrats or all the establishment in Washington, D.C. As long as the threat of bankruptcy remains gone, that's the best that we're going to get. Now, with the threat of bankruptcy back on the table for us, President Biden or the next president, they are going to have to cancel loans very broadly, very meaningfully, maybe even totally. Frankly, if I was president, I would cancel them totally the day that bankruptcy was returned, because no president wants to preside over the largest wave of bankruptcy filings in our nation's history. And remember this also, if you file for bankruptcy under student loans, you're probably going to bring some other debts into that. So that has a really big spillover effect to other financial sectors. So, yeah, guys, when we get bankruptcy rights back, this battle is for all intents over and we win. And remember this also, guys, and this is a nice segue into what I want to talk about tonight. September 1st, the loans are going to be turned back on. The number one wet dream, holy grail of our opposition, that is the student debt collection industry. The one thing they want more than anything, and this is what they've always wanted, what they've been working very hard for behind the scenes, is to see these loans turned back on, see a mass default happen, and that is absolutely going to happen in the continued absence of bankruptcy rights. They're given a license to steal. And when they turn these loans back on, remember this also, the debt collection industry has not been making much money since COVID and the repayment pause. They are hungry and they are sharpening their knives. And you, my friend, are on the menu. So am I, by the way. I'm a defaulted student loan borrower, just like you, or just like I'm a distressed student loan borrower, just like you. I'm in default. You may not be. Who knows? But tonight, and by the way, if you have any questions or comments, and I can see them on Twitter or Facebook, throw them out. I'm gonna kind of rattle right through them. And I'm gonna try and get this live stream done in the next five minutes, hopefully no more, because I'm trying to keep my live stream short. So, defaulted student loans, unlike every other lending industry, the lenders love defaulted loans. The lending side, the collection companies absolutely thrive on defaulted student loans. Even the federal government, it turns out, has been making a tidy profit on defaulted student loans for many, many, many years. This is one of the things that makes the student loan program uniquely predatory in the world of all loans. So, here's kind of how that works, guys. If you default on your loan automatically is subject to all sorts of terrible collection powers, wage garnishment without a court order, all these things, suspension of your professional license, etc. But what they do is there is a 16% collection rate that gets slapped onto your ass. So even if you start paying after that, for every dollar that you repay, 16 cents gets taken off and put in the lender's pocket before they apply anything to principal or interest. And this has huge ramifications, guys. So, for example, if you default on a student loan, right, at say $50,000, after a year and a half, 2 years, that loan is going to be $60,000, $70,000 before long at all. And this is the dirtiest trick in the student loan scam universe. Of all the student loan scams out there, this is the dirtiest scam of them all. There's something called loan rehabilitation, where you pay for 10 months and you sign for a new, much larger undefaulted loan. And they bake that 16% right into there. And so typically, if you defaulted on a loan at say $50,000, by the time you rehabilitate with penalties, interest fees, new fees, all that, you probably wind up signing for a new loan that's roughly double that, so about $100,000. Now, the dirty little trick here is that the people convincing you to rehabilitate your loans, they get a commission from the government typically of 16% on that rehabilitated loan. So this is a loan that you paid for 10 months on religiously, and all that went into their pocket too, by the way. None of that went to principal or interest. So $100,000 rehabilitated loan that you signed for gets an instant payday to whoever convinces you to do that of $16,000. Like, that's a pretty easy money. Am I not wrong? And yes, indeed, it's a hugely, hugely lucrative business. And we find collection creeps. We find student loan lawyers. I think you know who I'm talking about. We find debt coaches. We find all manner of Tom, Dick, and Harry con artists doing everything they can do to find defaulted student loan borrowers and trick them into rehabilitating their loans. Now, here's what those fucking bottom feeding scum vermin are not telling you, ladies and gentlemen. And that is that 18% of all 80%, 4 out of 5, maybe even more these days, 80% of those rehabilitated loans, they wind up defaulting again. So it's the worst thing in the world that anybody can do, by and large. And the people that are conning you into doing this, they're not trying to help you. They're harming you. And they are making huge amounts of money off of your ass. So if you rehabilitated your loans, you probably know what I'm talking about. It probably sounded good at the time. Oh, you get your loans out of default, and all that. And then you probably wound up defaulting again. And what started as, I don't know, maybe a $50,000 defaulted loan is now probably a $250,000 monstrosity. And this is one of the worst, dirty tricks that we've seen out there. And the scum-sucking, bottom-feeding vermin out there that like to sneak around on our group and on Twitter and everywhere else and target these people and prey upon them, including other student advocacy groups, by the way. Last time I heard, that student debt crisis AstroTurf group was using their group as hunting grounds to seek and destroy defaulted student loan borrowers. Yeah, that's what that game is. And those fucking people ought to be fucking ashamed of themselves. Pardon my French. So beware, guys. There's a lot of con artists out there. We on this group are not con artists, by the way. We on this group, we don't have secret handshakes. We don't have secret financial dealings with the student debt collection industry. We don't have any secret dealings with anyone. The only place that we get funding for are from normal people in the form of personal gifts from typically distressed student loan borrowers, which is you. So if you're looking for a group that you can trust, this group is the only one that I know of that doesn't have some weird connection to the student debt collection industry or the student loan industry in general. These people are bottom feeding fucking parasites. Pardon my French. It makes me angry. So if I can see your questions and comments, I will read them aloud on air right now, and then I will vamoose. Because like I said, I'm trying to get quicker about my live streams, and we're already 15 minutes in, so I think I've gone a few minutes even further than I was thinking. So I hope everybody's doing well out there in the world. The weather here in Wisconsin is finally getting better again, so that's good. We got that going for us. Hey, Laura Gail Sweeney's with us. Rehabilitation is used to pacify debtors and others. That's right. It's a Band-Aid that offers immediate sort of relief, but long-term financial fucking catastrophe. Pardon my French. I've never rehabilitated my loans, by the way. I'm no sucker. I'm no dummy. I smelled a rat. And by the way, you're not dumb if you rehabilitated either. It's a lot of very good people do it. But you're right, Laura. It's just one more little tentacle on the student loan octopus. Student loans are failed in this country, guys. Catastrophically failed. In my humble opinion, nobody should ever pay another dollar back, certainly on their federal student loans. But that thing that I said at the top of this broadcast is true. They're going to turn these loans back on, guys, and the bad guys are sharpening their knives. So I would strongly urge everyone out there, number one, help us fight to at least get the leverage of bankruptcy returned, hopefully before September 1st, by doing our daily actions to begin with. But this is not watch us fight for you endeavor. This is your battle. This is your livelihood. We're not going to kiss your ass and blow smoke up your ass like all the predators out there who are only trying to get you to sign for a loan rehabilitation or something else. We're not going to blow that kind of smoke up your ass, guys. We're a very honest, brutally honest group. And if you don't help us, nothing is going to get done. So you can start by going to our website and doing 2 weeks worth of our daily actions. Quite frankly, that's the least that you can do. And if you have no intentions of fighting with us, actually getting your knuckles a little muddy and bloody, like Christina and Laura Gale, and other people I see here on the broadcast tonight, well, you can just go away. Go away. We don't want you in this group if you're not going to help us fight. Period. Christina Winton says, seems like it's another way to chain the person down, even more, make it look like a new debt. That's right. When you sign for a loan rehabilitation, you're signing for a new loan and you're giving it an air of legitimacy. This entire lending system is illegitimate, guys. Lending systems fail from time to time. That's been true throughout human history. Federal student loans in the United States of America are wholly failed. And in my opinion, if you ever pay another dollar on your federal student loans, you're not only unwise, but at this point, you're unpatriotic. Nobody should be feeding this beast. That's stupid. Why would you do that? So much more predatory than 2009 subprime mortgage. Yeah, for sure. Subprime mortgages had bankruptcy rights, guys. Founding fathers called for uniform bankruptcy laws. The Constitution had the power to declare war and raise an army for a very good reason. And this student loan exception to their wisdom proves their wisdom in spades. So while there at times seems like everybody's out to get us, guys, the founding fathers are on our side. And really, that's all that you need to know. They saw this loan scam coming from 250 years in the past. Yeah, I don't know what technical issues you might have had trying to do our daily actions, but if you go to bit.ly/SLJ daily actions, daily action, and you can see it, you can just go to our website. It's right there. You can hopefully very easily see what the daily actions are. You know, I think we have quite a few more comments on now that I'm seeing. And so let me just apologize in advance, guys. But like I said, I'm trying to keep these live streams short. And we're now at 20 minutes. Oh, my God. So stay tuned, guys. We need you in this fight. If you forget everything I said tonight, remember this. We need you in this fight. Don't be fooled by all the bullshit out there and all the bullshit groups out there that are like, no, you don't need to fight. Well, you can help us fight. Here, just sit here, eat some popcorn, and watch us entertain you. And we'll make you feel like you're fighting this fight when you're actually not. Don't do that, guys. That's fucking stupid. Pardon my French. We need you here fighting with us. It's a good fight to fight. It's a fun fight to fight. I think both Laura and Christina and the other people watching this will agree that it feels very good to fight this fight because all we do is tell the truth. So I will be back tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sorry to have to ask for donations again, but I have to close with reiteration of my appeal for donations. Come on, dudes. It's not hard. If 20 people donated $20, we'd be right there, and we will disappear if we can't raise those sorts of nominal amounts to even still exist. Shouldn't be this hard after 18 years, you'd think, but here we are. So we chose the hard road, guys, and there's nothing glamorous about it, but there's everything good about it. It feels very good and cathartic to fight this fight. Stand up for yourself. Don't expect anybody else to pull your weight because they won't. It'll never happen. But let's have some fun, guys. It's getting good. So I'll see you tomorrow. Good luck. Godspeed. God bless everyone.